HMIs give users access and control over their automation system, but that access typically requires the user to physically be in front of the panel. One way C-More HMIs from Automation Direct has advantages over its competitors is the ability to access your project remotely from anywhere. Using an iOS or Android app or via browser on a PC, you can view and control your project as if you were in front of the C-More HMI. Today, we'll be going through the basic steps in setting up your system for remote access. While this video will take you from start to finish, we've separated the steps into categories so you can find help on certain topics as needed. Check the chapters in the video description for quick access to each step in the process. Before starting the setup process, make certain you have access to the IP address of your HMI panel and network security method for your system. The three most common ways to connect remotely to your project are through local network connections, VPN, or port forwarding. Local network connections are typically the most secure as there's no external-facing access. However, this also means that you must be directly connected to the network, which limits accessible locations. VPNs create a secure, encrypted connection between your device and the network, masking your IP address and protecting your device from outside users. It'll allow access from nearly anywhere but goes through an extra layer and requires additional configuration. Port forwarding allows the router to redirect the communication request from one address and port number to another. It's the least secure method, so it's not recommended for sensitive systems. First thing is to ensure that your panel is accessible to external devices. Typically, this is done by setting the panel to a static IP address. It's not recommended to use DHCP as changing IPs can cause communication issues. Open your project into Development Software. On the Setup ribbon, select Panel Network and then select Ethernet port. This page defines the HMI panel's location on the network. From here, you set the IP address, subnet mask, default gateway, and DNS address. Make certain that the Save Setting to Project checkbox is selected. Next, we need to enable the web server for browser access. Select the web server in the same dialog. For this example, we'll just be using HTTP, so simply activate the web server function checkbox. For more advanced features such as HTTPS and password options, please refer to the C-More help files in the development software. Lastly, we'll need to activate the remote access server to allow for incoming connections. Select Remote Access in the same dialog. On this page, select Remote Access Server function. Almost every project will use the same IP addresses we defined earlier, so you don't have to do anything in these fields. For local and VPN connections, this is all you need to connect remotely. For port forwarding systems, the defined IP address will not be the same as the local IP. In this case, add the outward-facing public IP address in the remote connection box. As an extra layer of security, remote access requires a logon. While only one is required, you can configure up to 3 remote user accounts. They're defined here with several options. Under Permissions, you can select the user to View Only, essentially mirroring the screen as it appears on the panel. View and Screen Change enables the user to navigate through the project, but no other interactions allowed. Full Control makes the project fully interactive with no restrictions. Under User Restrictions, you can limit the number of users that can connect simultaneously. Each remote access account can support up to 5 remote user connections for a maximum of 15 total connected users. The Disable tag can be assigned to any Boolean tag. By setting this tag to True during runtime, we'll disconnect any users in this group and prevent connection under this username. The notification tag is a read-only indicator, which would reflect if that user is actively, remotely connected to the project, and can be set to an internal Boolean tag. Neither of these tags are required, but both extremely useful. Click OK, and then send the project to the panel to complete the process. Now you're ready to connect. With the project running, open any web browser on your PC. In the address field, type in the IP address of the HMI panel. This is the same address we used earlier. You should now see the default C-More HTML page, displaying the panel and several options. Click on the Remote Access button. Here it will display the different connections. Choose the one that applies to your network. Doing so will download the remote access application to your PC. This file can be saved and used later. And since each connection is a separate file, this will also allow you to remotely access multiple HMIs at the same time. Running this file opens the C-More console. Enter the applicable username and password, then click OK. The user credentials set up in the project will determine what access your console will have. Now, let's connect to the project using a mobile device. The C-More Remote HMI app is available for both iOS and Android devices. Links to the apps are listed in the video description. Open the app and click Connection. Here you can input the IP address or browse the network for devices, but for now we'll be adding the HMI as a favorite, making future connections to the HMI a one-step process. Select Favorite, then Add. Type in a descriptive name for the project, add the IP address, username, and password, then select Done. This will take you back to the Favorite screen. Click the newly created link and your remote connection opens. C-More HMIs give you the control you need where you need it. Whether you're in front of the enclosure, in your office, or even across the country, with just a few clicks you have access to your project at your fingertips. And with CM5's multiple Ethernet ports, you now have even more options. Wherever the job takes us, C-More from Automation Direct makes it easy to view and control HMI projects. C-More HMIs come with a 2-year warranty and free lifetime technical support. Click here to learn more about C-More HMIs. Click here to subscribe so you don't miss out on any future tutorials, new products, or other automation solutions.